Alrighty, today's video is going to be a combination video about the Hawk to a Girl scam with the meme coin that was associated with her, or is still associated with her. It seems obvious that the fact that they're hiding everything in the Cayman Islands is protection for the fact that this rug pull was basically a scam. There's a bunch of coverage on that already. I want to move the ball forward here and talk, I want to do a two-part kind of video about just covering again how she scammed everybody, but then I want to focus on how you can avoid getting scammed in from this. I mean, if you look at if you look at Bitcoin right now being $100,000, I think people are maybe looking more at alternative investments like meme coins to maybe see if they can get lucky. You have some disposable income, you spend 200, 300, 400 bucks on a meme coin and just hope you get lucky and 10x it to the moon. Um, and then, if you're out 200, 300 bucks, you can recover. If you win, you have a massive upside. So I think people are doing that. But then you have people that are capitalizing on that, and I think that there are ways to avoid these rug pulls. I don't even fully understand it yet, but I'm hoping that this video I found is going to shed some light on it. So let's talk about it.
Today's launch day. Woot woot. My Hawk meme coin is live.
Today we're breaking down the Hawk Tuah scam.
Well, guys, shocking things are happening. Today we are talking about something that I think literally every person on the planet saw coming. It was really just a question of how long is it going to take. Not very long was the answer, apparently. Hawk Tuah, spit on that thing. 6 words that turned a girl's life upside down and made her a millionaire for reasons I still really can't comprehend. If you don't know
Nobody
who Haley
can.
Welch, aka the Hawk Tuah girl, is at this point, honestly, hats off to you. Seriously, that's kind of fucking impressive. Earlier this year, the girl you're looking at right now, Haley Welch, found herself on one of those
Probably a good
social media
thing.
street interview channels, and when asked to describe a move that makes a man go crazy in bed, she replied, "You gotta give him the Hawk Tuah, spit on that thing." And for some reason, her describing what is honestly just common courtesy during a blowjob made her into like an actual celebrity. And when I say an actual celebrity, I kind of mean it. Like, yeah, a lot of people have gotten, quote, famous for going viral on the internet, but for some reason, a reason I still don't know, people like really liked this, and the Hawk Tuah shit took over to the world. To the point where she was getting paid like appearance fees, showing up to random events around the country. She got her own podcast, all different kinds of shit happened to this woman for seemingly no reason. I don't get it, I'll never get it. But as with anybody who gets famous in a manner like this one, the timer began. If you didn't know, anybody who gets famous like this overnight, like when you become a genuine overnight celebrity, a timer starts that you might not even know about. It's the countdown to when you do one of 3 things. You either 1, become a political grifter, 2, you start an OnlyFans, or 3, you find yourself part of the crypto scam. If you manage to outlast this timer, I don't really know what happens. Like, I think you might honestly just die or something. I don't think it's ever been done before. When you get famous for nothing,
I think what you really do is you take that fame and you put it into something else. It doesn't have to be those crazy things. I mean, he's being sarcastic, but you take your fame and then you make a YouTube channel and you know that your social media is going to be large and you can do a little bit more. How do I put this? Maybe a little bit less unethical choices, like making money off of ads or some affiliate marketing. Like, you don't have to do all that stuff. And when you get a big following, you have a timer to do those things too, because the attention is a huge advantage starting off.
and that's nothing with an asterisk. Something's got to give eventually, right? When your claim to fame is saying, "I like to spit on dick," realistically, you can only ride that for so long, right? So when things start to slow down, you're like, shit, well, okay, I've got to do something. Now, this might be TMI, but I'm going to say it anyways. I feel like if I were in this situation, if my claim to fame was saying I like to give sloppy blowjobs, I feel like there's a more obvious career route of those 3 things I mentioned, but I guess crypto scamming was, because that's exactly what Haley Welch, aka the Hawk Tuber Girl, has found herself mixed up with recently. Real quick before
Nah, she's a good country Christian woman. Why would she do such a thing like OnlyFans?
we get into all that, though, I would like to apologize if I sound a bit nasally.
Well, I don't know if she's country. I think she's from Tennessee, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Video, okay? I have been visited by the fuck you have a stuffy nose now fairy, so please bear with me. Earlier this week, Haley Welch launched a meme coin called Hawk, which I feel like, to absolutely nobody's surprise, ended up being a massive rug pull. It's a tale as old as time. A coin is created for some sort of viral moment or internet celebrity. The creators, or the foundation in this situation, hold basically the entire supply of the meme coin. They hype it up, they distribute some of it to people on the inside, and then the rug pulling begins. Now, I want to go on record saying that if you lost money to the Hawk Tuba coin, I feel like you've got to be kind of stupid. Now, that might come off kind of harsh, but I mean, I don't give a shit. At some point, we've really got to stop calling this stuff a scam. Okay, we're gonna
Putting money in that is like putting money in a slot machine. You're just seeing what happens. I would hope people don't expect to get their money back when they put it in a slot machine. I would hope.
talk about some of the details of this later on, and a big part of this is that apparently they were reaching out to people with no sort of experience in this kind of, quote, investing, so those are the people that got preyed on, but I mean, honestly, still no sympathy. Somebody reaches out to you and is like, hey, remember like 6 months ago when a girl got famous for saying hawk Tuah? Okay, imagine if that was a stock. Are you with me? Okay, now imagine if that stock had no regulation whatsoever and had no intrinsic value. Are you ready to make an early withdrawal from your 401k? I mean, holy shit, how do you hear anything like that and be like, you know what, that's the future? Now, is that the exact pitch they gave them? Is that how it went down for everybody? Probably not. But I mean, I've just got to be honest with myself here, guys. I don't believe that anybody who was talking to investing into this shit was going to be putting their money to good use otherwise. Is that unfair of me to say? Maybe. Okay, maybe it is. But I mean, at some point, I feel like we've got to step back and be like, okay, yes, we can acknowledge that it's a horrible, terrible, shitty thing to do to run a crypto scam. We really need to start regulating this shit so these people go to prison for this. However, if you get talked into buying the hawk Tuah coin, probably for the best. If you were convinced that a cryptocurrency themed after an internet meme was a way for you to like 100 times your money, I mean, you probably needed to learn that that's not the case through experience. Because clearly you're gullible enough to believe that, so somebody telling you it's not going to happen is not going to be enough. You have to see it with your own eyes. You have to lose the money to be like, okay, maybe 10% a year. Maybe those returns are good enough for me. Now, I know that crypto is super foreign to a lot of people. I'm not the biggest crypto guy myself, and in the talks that CoffeeZilla had with these guys, they literally said that they were targeting people who knew nothing about the crypto market. So I'm not trying to be too harsh. Obviously, the real blame falls on the people orchestrating the scam, but still, blindly buying into something just because somebody tells you you're going to make a lot of money and doing absolutely no research into what you're buying, kind of hard to even call it a scam, really. With my rant,
And I think this is a point that I wanted to drive home as part of this video. It doesn't matter if it's investing in real estate, if it's a real estate investment trust, or in other words, multiple homes that are diversified with multiple investors. It doesn't matter if it's an individual stock. It doesn't matter if it's a bond. It doesn't matter what you are investing in. You cannot, because of some emotional or psychological hype, dive into an investment without doing proper analysis. Like proper analysis of a stock, for instance, would be, what are the financials? How profitable has the company been? Where's the capital coming into the business? Who are the owners? Who's on the board of this company that makes the final decisions? Things like that. If you don't do that with houses, if you don't do that with these other things, you're going to lose your ass. It's just that simple.
Out of the way, however, let's dive a little bit deeper into what actually happened here. I'm not necessarily going to be going super in-depth on all this stuff. If you want that, you should really just go watch CoffeeZilla's video diving into this stuff. In this video, I really want to talk more about Miss hawk Tuah herself, because that's just what I'm more interested in, but I will try and give you the basics of what went down. Real quick, if you don't know what a rug pull or a pump and dump is, it's basically when a large group of people or some sort of entity buys up a large amount of stock, or in this case, a cryptocurrency. They artificially inflate the price somehow, usually by making false promises about future performance, and then once they've got enough people to buy into it, therefore raising the stock price, they sell all of their holdings, leaving the people that they tricked into buying this stock or cryptocurrency to raise the price with a worthless or severely devalued holding. In the stock market, if this is illegal, in the crypto market, you can basically do it consequence free. Okay, well maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration. People do go to jail for this kind of stuff, but it's a lot easier to get away with than it is for stocks, which has led many people, oftentimes other social media influencers, to be in a similar position as Ms. hawk Tuah is now, where they find themselves in the midst of a crypto scam, and you gotta wonder, did they really know what they were getting themselves into? Generally, people in the business of scamming or deceiving don't draw too many lines. Is it possible that Ms. hawk Tuah was tricked into doing this, or was not given the full story? I think that's probably pretty likely. However, I don't really think it makes much of a difference, because similarly to how I was giving people shit for not doing research before they buy a shitcoin, you've got to do your research before you make one, especially when you're promised 50% of the net proceeds that this shitcoin makes, which was part of.
And no offense to ladies though, but I feel like if people are judging a book by its cover and they see a pretty woman as part of it, like Lena Rhodes, for instance, they're gonna go ahead and assume that she has plausible deniability, that she had no clue, like she had no clue as to what was going on. Because if you judge a book by its cover, you see some pretty girl, you think that she's probably sitting around analyzing charts and studying cryptocurrency and looking at all the altcoins, going through them, doing, complicated analysis and looking into the trading bots and all of that stuff. You think she really knows what's going on? You think she follows cryptocurrency trying to get rich desperately? I think I would assume that probably not. I would assume that some women still do, and it's not to attack women by any means. It's just naturally they have their interests, and men tend to have their interests a little bit more than them, and men do tend to study financial markets a little bit more than women, statistically speaking. So I think if I had to bet, if you told me you have to bet, did she know versus did she not know, like what the hell was going on with all this, I would say she probably didn't understand. She understood to a certain degree, but probably not fully.
is a lot of money, you've got to wonder where she was thinking this money was coming from if she didn't know it was a rug pull. She was also apparently paid in
No,
advance
that's a good point.
$125,000 just to be part of this. On top of this, they were charging crazy fees to buy the coin, generating more revenue for the people behind this, promising that nobody on the inside was receiving these coins without buying them fair and square, which was like immediately proven to not be true. So with all this money being promised, all this money exchanging hands, all these shady practices being employed that Haley should have known about, I'm sure it's going to lead a lot of people to think that she knew exactly what was going on from the start. And look, I don't really care either way. She should
This
be
is
held
just
responsible either way,
outrageous.
but personally, I just don't think that's what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen an episode of the Hawk to a podcast. I say this, and I mean it in the nicest way I can.
I take back what I said. She should totally be held responsible.
Think Haley is really up to the task of pulling something like this off. Interpret that how you'd like to.
Absolutely
but
not.
Not only does this seem like something she
Absolutely
really
not.
wouldn't know how to do, I think it'd also just be fucking hilarious if she had no idea. That's kind of mean to say, I guess, because like this is something pretty serious she got herself wrapped up in. But I mean, that's her fault. You got greedy. You went for the easy money. This is what happens. Everybody knew something like this was coming for her. She just made sure the prophecies were true. Also, if you just listen to the way that she's been talking about all this stuff, it's like she's just too bold. Real quick, I'm gonna play you a couple of clips from the Twitter space where everybody was talking about this in, and just tell me if you think this sounds like somebody who's fully aware that they are contributing to pulling off a massive scam.
Hey, this is one of the most miserable, horrible launches I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, then why the fuck are you on?
So I'm sort of curious, like, not for the token price itself, but just in terms of the fact that there's fees that are being generated, there's an actual, like,
Hey
source
guys,
of income.
I hate to interrupt you, Nick. Hello there. But
Yeah.
anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so not only is announcing your bedtime in the middle of you getting called out for scamming millions of dollars the funniest fucking thing a person has ever done. I nearly shit myself laughing the first time I heard this. The way she just immediately confronts CoffeeZilla, it's just so funny. I think the entire space lasted for like just over an hour, and not once during the entire time did she say anything productive or meaningful. It's either random outbursts, just off the cuff shit like I just showed you, or things she is clearly reading off a piece of paper. Like it's just that Dog Holloway guy talking for most of the space. At no point is Haley like chiming in, proving that she has any idea whatsoever what's going on. She's just kind of there because the coin's named after her, it seems. But like again, don't
By the way, there's no effing way she went to bed. There's no way. There's no way. She was shitting herself. There's no way. She's talking, she's phoning people, she's talking to a lawyer, she's got all this money now. There's no way. She went straight to bed.
Don't get me wrong, that's not an excuse. She needs to be held accountable for this shit, and hopefully this will deplatform her. But truthfully, in my heart, I feel like she had no fucking clue what was going on here. Like, this is just what internet fame is now. When you're not quite marketable enough for a TV show or a movie, they're just gonna make you famous on the internet. You get a podcast, you get a weird dating app I think she has, and then you get your own crypto scam. Like, seriously, I don't know who is facilitating this shit. Like, I honestly have no clue what agencies around the world are making this kind of stuff happen, but I know they exist. These days, you get one really viral video on the internet, and like 2 weeks later, you have a podcast in a professional studio. I know that somebody's behind the scenes making this shit happen. Like the Costco guys, they make a dozen stupid videos shopping around Costco. Then they get a podcast, they're on Jimmy Fallon. I think they're like wrestlers now. There are people behind the scenes pulling the fucking strings here, guys. These people are not like internet influencers in the sense that they're just some people who make content and they happen to blow up. This is all
They start by doing that stuff, and then it develops into them being on mainstream TV and things like that, I would say.
orchestrated, and I think the people being orchestrated are sometimes just fucking clueless. Does that excuse it? No, not at all. I just think that's what's happening here. Well, guys, what do you think? Do you think Miss Hawk Tuah knew this was a scam? Do you think she was tricked? Do you think it's a little bit of both? One thing that I will say is I think that crypto is one of those things that the people in the know, if you will, really overestimate how many people are in the know, I guess. Like, seriously, go ask your mom, your uncle, a cousin, whoever. Just ask them what they know about crypto and see if it goes beyond they know what a Bitcoin is, kind of, or they've heard of it. There's no, like, standard curriculum in the United States for investing. A lot of people don't even know how to buy a stock in the stock markets. Crypto is one of those things that a lot of people just have no clue about. So you go up to a 22-year-old and say, hey, tie your name to this and we'll give you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and your fans will make a bunch of money too. A person who knows nothing more about the crypto market than Bitcoin used to be worth nothing and now it's worth $100,000 is probably gonna be like, fuck yeah, sign me up. I won't say this again because I'm about to end the video, but obviously that doesn't excuse doing this. Does it explain it though? Maybe. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today.
So that's August the Duck. Awesome channel. And on to the next one. So this is the important one. If you are, again, interested in investing in meme coins, how to avoid crypto scams, and it starts by talking about rug pulls and honeypots and what they are. So this is really good.
Ever heard of rug pulls and honeypots? These are terms used to describe crypto scams that have been stealing millions of dollars from investors. In today's video, we're going to find out what exactly are rug pulls and honeypots and how to spot them so that you and your precious crypto don't get trapped. If you'd like to stay updated on all things crypto, make sure you click on that subscribe button and turn on the notification. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for all the latest crypto updates. Let's begin. What is a rug pull? A rug pull is a malicious scheme in which a bad actor takes away your investments from a liquidity pool. The term comes from the action of pulling a rug underneath someone so as to remove stability. While toppling you over, the scammer takes your crypto with them. This happens when an investor trades a token that they think might have some value, but in reality, the token is worthless. The the developer has made it seem like it's worth something by hyping it up on social media. In 2020, when DeFi projects were taking the industry by storm, Compounder Finance had rug pulled its investors just 22 days after its smart contract was launched. It looked like a legit yield farming project promising high returns, but it wasn't as it seemed. Once enough money was in the liquidity pool, the developers pulled the rug, along with $11 million of various established tokens, including wrapped Bitcoin, Ether, and DAI.
So I think, if I'm not mistaken, the developer of the coin has so many coins that as soon as it goes up to a level that's satisfactory, as soon as people pour enough money into it, they just sell off the coins and they hold the majority of the coins. So as soon as they sell off, the entire market just tanks on them. And that's what the rug pull actually is, again, people buy into it, it goes up, and then they sell off and it goes back down. Because they hold such a large percentage of the total market cap of the coin.
Within 24 hours,
Then it just tanks once they sell it.
Compounder Finance token price dropped 98.8%, leaving the investor with worthless tokens. The developer took the money and disappeared, never to be seen again. Now let's look at honeypots. Honeypots are crypto scams that allow investors to purchase tokens, but disable the selling of those tokens. The scammer would insert a coin into their smart contracts, which only permit certain addresses in their favor to sell the tokens. This then leaves the unsuspecting investors with worthless tokens. One way to spot a honeypot is when there are a string of buys on the token with hardly to none sells. The price chart usually shows a continuous uptrend, baiting investors into buying it. Because surely, if the price keeps going up, the project must be good, right? Well, not exactly. Once the price has appreciated significantly, the scammer will begin to sell their tokens until they have none left. Eventually, the price will depreciate so drastically that the token becomes worthless and investors are unable to get their crypto back. While the tactics are different, the end goal of a honeypot scam is similar to that of a rug pull, tricking investors and stealing their money. So how can you make sure that you don't fall into a seemingly delicious honeypot or being rug pulled before it happens? Regardless of the type of scams currently trending, there are ways to avoid them. Here are 8 tips on how to spot crypto scams like rug pulls and honeypots. Firstly, notice how the token is being promoted on social media. Does the developer use random and unknown influencers to hype it up? If so, that's a big red flag.
Okay, all right, correction. So according to ChatGPT, so a rug pull is when the project is completely abandoned and the token becomes completely useless. A honeypot is what I thought a rug pull was prior, and where they drive the price up and then they dump it, and the token is still useful, but it's dumped either way. Either way, the price gets driven up and it gets either dumped or the token becomes useless. They're insanely similar. You can almost look at them as the same thing, but if you want to figure this out, just go right to good old ChatGPT and search honeypot versus rug pull for more info.
Projects do the advertising themselves because they have the means. They wouldn't need influencers to help them gain followers and a high encouragement rate. But if they do use well-known influencers, check whether the influencers have promoted scams and rug pulls in the past. Number 2, do a background check on the developer. Who are they? How many are in the team? How long did it take them to develop the project? If they are real people developing a legit project, they just wouldn't copy and paste code. Instead, they would take their time to develop the project so that it meets the mission and vision stated in their white paper. Speaking of white paper, here's tip number 3. Read their white paper thoroughly. Some good projects don't have a white paper, but that doesn't mean it's a scam. Just use another way to check their credibility. But if they do have a white paper, make sure that they include stats, diagrams, and how their token is solving a specific problem. Also, check whether it has been plagiarized from another project. If it has, then it clearly shows that the team didn't bother putting any effort into the project. Number 4, check token distribution. If more than 20% of the tokens are held by one wallet, or if the top 10 wallets hold more than 20% of the tokens, it's most likely that it's a rug pull scam. You can check whether the token is held by whales via blockchain explorer platforms such as Etherscan or BSCScan. These platforms, as well as honeypot.is, can also be used to determine whether a smart contract is a honeypot. If less than 50% of the coins are in a dead wallet, consider it a red flag. Number 5, look at the liquidity and total value locked. Liquidity is the amount of value in tokens, while the total value locked, or TVL, is the total dollar amount of coins and tokens invested into a project. You would want to ensure that both the liquidity and the TVL are high. This would show that the developer has enough money to begin with and will be able to reward your investments. But how high? In the millions and billions, not tens of thousands. However, in some cases, even if a project doesn't have a lot of liquidity, it doesn't mean that it's a scam. Some credible projects have started off with liquidity that's in the hundreds of thousands. Number 6, make sure that the project is audited. One thing you should know is that the auditing process is expensive. So if a project has successfully been audited, that means it has funds to begin with. Even if the project is audited, they can still rug, but the chances are significantly lower. Regardless, it's better to do your due diligence and read the audit. Number 7, check with online independent auditing tools. Rug Doctor identifies common rug pull techniques and informs the scams of their website. Token Sniffer compares a ton of tokens and how similar they are. If the tokens are 80 to 100% similar, then it's a sure sign of a rug pull. ES-Check allows you to check if the liquidity is locked. If it's locked, it means that the developer will not be able to drain the liquidity pool. Last but not least, test it out yourself. If you can sell the token that you just bought, then it has the possibility of being a legit project. But start small and remember, don't put all your honey in one pot. And that's it.
And by the way, that's rugdoc.io for Rug Doctor. See, this is a very short video that kind of covers a broad overview. If you really are serious about playing around with meme coins, I would say you need to do kind of more extensive research and take every single one of these methodologies of doing your checks and balances and really analyze them. You know, it shouldn't really take that long to get a system going. I would recommend doing that.
Now be able to spot a scam from a mile away and turn the other way. Have you been rug pulled or trapped in a honeypot before? Feel free to share your experience in the comments so we can learn from you too. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on all our socials for future alpha. See ya!
Great little channel. I think that's doing a lot of good. Let's view some comments for fun here. I think it's a great time to cover rug pulls and why we should be worried about them, or honeypots. They're basically the same thing. Safe Moon is the worst rug pull I've ever been in. Safe Moon, I remember people were talking about Safe Moon. I didn't even know it was a rug pull. Let's see what this. Can it be translated into Chinese? Well, I mean, people around the world are interested. Alright, those comments aren't as fun. Now time for the fun ones. Now she's gonna talk to a police officer. Yeah? Well, can't be the only person who's sick of this woman, right? I mean, not really. I don't pay attention that much. It's just she's just a funny meme, and then monetizing the fact that she got memed. I don't know. I mean, what are you gonna do? It just is what it is. Started a podcast by saying she didn't know you couldn't bring knives on planes. I don't think we're dealing with a genius here. I finally got this. If I went back in time to 2010 and said Hawk Tuah girl rug pulled her own meme coin, people would think I just had a stroke. In other words, they would have no clue what you're talking about. Anyway, that's a good place to end it on here. Do your research, use AI, avoid getting rug pulled, and I'll see you next time.